Good morning and welcome to another Tuesday shout out from the Chatbox Productions award-winning chat show crew. You may notice by my background, I am not in my usual zone. I am on the road, reporting live from reasonable Birmingham. Went out for a run this morning down the streets of Birmingham, a bit dark when I headed out, but the rain has stopped, so all is well in Birmingham. And how are you, my friend?
I'm very well. I'm not in Birmingham. I'm still here in Essex and doing very well, Nick. Quite a strange week, really. We're going to talk about a few things in this warm-up to the shows this week. But I suppose the big one that's kind of probably at the top of all our minds at the moment is the fuel crisis. How's that affecting you? Is it stopping you getting your goods, your services delivered to your community? Getting deliveries coming in? What's happening? We'd love to know what's happening in your organisation, your business, and how the fuel crisis is impacting you. And we'll talk more about that in a moment. All good here in Essex, Nick. But yeah, your hotel room, you're up there for a conference seminar?
This is the CTSI Symposium, so the Chartered Trading Standards Institute Symposium. I'm working with my my lovely estate and letting agency team, and I've got a talk today at 12:10. So if you're in Birmingham and you've got your trainers on and you can get down to the A Loft, come and see my talk. All about time and attention management today at 12:10.
Fantastic, brilliant. So you're live on stage. Now, here's the question, Nick.
Have I got my slippers on?
Have you got your slippers? Are you daring enough to wear your slippers?
Not that kind of do, mate.
We'll find one where it is that kind of do, where you can turn up in your Mickey Mouse slippers live on stage. For those that are, by the way, tuning in thinking, my God, what are these two talking about? Obviously, we've been in that lockdown scenario for kind of the last 18 months, or in and out, on and off, and been very little audience engagement from live venues, i.e. Nick and I haven't been out speaking to live audiences. We're just getting back into the swing of things, and I'm sure there's a number of you that are just getting back out into the big wide world and face-to-face meetings. And we always said, when we've been doing these chat shows, I'm wearing my slippers now. We've been wearing our slippers, pretty much, or flip-flops, whatever it is. And we said the dare is when you go and do your live face-to-face next webinar, next seminar or conference, wear your slippers on stage and see what people say. But Nick's bottled it. Maybe next time.
Fair enough. He has. Yes. He's got.
I know playing you. Looking a bit of a pillock, stand on the stage in front of all those, professionals. Probably wouldn't have done thing, would it?
I want more gigs, right? I want to get some more gigs.
Absolutely. So let's go back to kind of the fuel crisis. And as we all know, but a week ago, the fuel crisis wasn't around. It was just kind of on the surface. And now we're seeing, and I've driven around and I haven't filled up actually since the fuel crisis started. I was quite lucky, just that I did have, my wife's car had a full tank of fuel, or pretty much, being a diesel. And also we're not doing lots of miles, just taking my daughter to and from school. We haven't really eroded that too much. But I appreciate others are going out to work, having to, visit places, do longer journeys, and that fuel is getting, eaten up quite quickly. But I've driven, when we have been, I was at my daughter's school, the queues for the petrol stations. My God, it's just pure madness that these people are queuing and must be waiting 45 minutes to an hour to get fuel in their tank. Now, I get it if you're on empty or you're on fumes, or there is a desperate need to put fuel in your tank because you've got to go somewhere that's classified as a necessity. I get it if, you're a key worker or someone that is having to, be out and about supporting others. But I think your words kind of prior to coming to this show, Nick, if you've got a full tank and you're just trying to squeeze another fiver in it, what was the word that you used? I think it was pillock, or was that pretty a looser?
If you need fuel, you need fuel. If you need fuel, it's really unfortunate because the queues are huge. If you don't need fuel, then don't get in a queue. Right? I'm on a quarter of a tank, but I don't need fuel right now. I'm in Birmingham, for God's sake. I came on the train. I don't need to put fuel in my car, which is quite fortunate. It means I don't need to get into a queue. If you do need fuel, go and grab fuel. If you've got some, don't bother. Well, I don't know. Are the army coming? What's going on? There wasn't a fuel crisis, and now there is a fuel crisis, right? Not because there's no fuel. Well, It's just because everyone's drinking the stuff, right? Everyone's filling up. So it's dividing the country. All right, there's a load of people going, idiots getting in the queue. What are they playing at? And a load of people saying, I need it. What a dreadful state of affairs. Right? We are so vulnerable that we see a queue and think panic. And we've been over the last 18 months, we've become more and more vulnerable. Considering we're a nation that have perfected the art of working from home, suddenly a lot of us need fuel. I don't know where we're going. I thought we were working from home, mate.
I did think that there's a lot of cars on the road. Everyone keeps filling up their fuel tanks. It's quite interesting. The army are potentially on standby. Obviously, this is media. Now, I have read lots of this. Don't believe the media. They're hyping it up. They're making the situation worse. They're there to do a job. Let's cut them a little bit of slack. As long as their reporting is semi-accurate and it's, what the stories are, that's what their job is. They're paid to do, just like I'm paid to,
You're being very kind.
I am being very kind, but they are the media. If they weren't reporting, then people would be crying out with a crisis saying we're not getting the information. Now, I know they're stirring it up to a degree, and it depends on what radio station or what TV channel you tune into, but it is news. But there is obviously a bit of a crisis out there because people are queuing, fuel's not getting through. It's apparently, it is an HGG driver issue as well. But of course, these drivers can't just be brought in because they have to have the qualifications to actually drive a fuel tanker and know what to do with the fuel when they arrive at the station, i.e. pump it into the tanks. Plus, it's obviously a hazardous liquid that they're carrying. So there's many other things that come into play. So the army might step in, but again, they only have limited personnel that are trained to obviously offload fuel. So there's still this kind of, what will happen. And I did read, and yes, it was in the Daily Mail, I think it was, or Daily Express. So take it with a very small pinch of salt. It came up in my feed this morning that actually one of the biggest or the second largest oil refinery in the UK that produces fuel is on the brink of collapse. So, there's a bit of scaremongering, possibly, of course. But if that's true, why is it on its kind of back foot? What's happening? Is it because it can't get the fuel out there? It can't refine? I don't know. Need to dig into that story a bit more. Anyway, we're putting it out there because Thursday, we're going to talk a little bit more about the fuel crisis because I don't think it's going to be fixed by Thursday morning.
It might be over by then. It'll all be over by Thursday.
It might be. It's unlikely. So we're going to talk about it. So if you've got something you want to add about the fuel crisis, how it's affecting your business, then you need to tune in on Thursday morning, this Thursday, the 30th, 8 a.m., and tell us your point of view. Just be careful with the language that you might use, but we welcome you to maybe jump on the show and give your point of view, your opinion, your feedback, your comments. Pop it into the chat as well. Let us know between now and then or on the morning. We're also joined.
Ironic that we'll be talking about the fuel crisis, and on Thursday morning show we have a specialist in creating FOMO, the fear of missing out. Right? If this was one of her projects, she's a genius. She's nailed it. Yeah,
it's a very, very good link, isn't it? We can talk about the fear of missing out, not having fuel in your tank. And that lady that's joining us, by the way, on Thursday morning from FOMO Creato is May King. And I'm looking so forward to having May King on the show because she's got the biggest, bubbliest personality ever. So many stories to share and secrets that we can probably gain from her about how you can make your next event super exciting and potentially trend on the social platforms, because that's what she does. She makes people go, wow, I want to be there. I want to be part of this. I need to follow this. So it'd be really great hearing from May King. We've got other guests joining us on Thursday morning too.
Probably a load of people ranting about the fuel. Yeah. Give me my fuel.
I will see if we can bring on someone, maybe from a local petrol station, and give their side of the story. We have nice, polite customers coming in and they're all happy and smiley, or are they angry and upset? I wonder what that actually does look like and sound like.
Yeah, maybe you need to go out and get in a queue, mate, and see what it's like. Live reporting from a queue. Yeah, I would be on the show, but I'm stuck in this blooming queue. Yeah.
Maybe
I only want a bag of crisps. Damn it.
Maybe I could push my petrol lawnmower around the corner and get in the queue. I wonder how many people are toot their horn or give me a rude gesture. or walk up there with my 6 jerry cans or something like that. Last thing on the fuel crisis, the British Medical Association are crying out to government. They've got to take action. Key workers need to be thought of so they can basically be priority to get their fuel, to be able to carry out their key working duties. They're lobbying government this morning in the hope that can get kind of something put into place. It might be in a local town, there's a particular petrol station that's only for key workers only. Get it? Absolutely 100%. But my classification is what they're going to classify as a key worker. Is that someone that is a doctor or nurse through to obviously emergency services? But then we've got to think about all that home help that's out there as well. They're key workers. What about food
Chat show hosts? Surely. What a service we're providing. Chat show hosts, front of the queue, surely.
Yeah, absolutely. Journalists, the media. Where do we draw that line? So it'd be interesting to see how that fans out. We'll talk about that on Thursday. Now, before we say goodbye and disappear, because you've got a super busy day lined up, Nick, you're off to the conference very shortly. Tomorrow night, you're not going to be joining us for the late night Luby and Bell show. And it's not going to be just the Bell show tomorrow night, because we have a friend of the show, Mr. Keith Smith, joining me as co-host tomorrow night in the virtual studio with our great guests that will be joining us. But Nick, you are going to try and tune in and actually give us a live update from the awards that you're at tomorrow evening.
Absolutely right. Yes, I will. I'll do my utmost to come and join you, because it sounds like an amazing show, full of fizz and fun. Yeah.
Absolutely. So on the show tomorrow night, we have Mr. Christopher Walker, a gentleman Nick and I have known for many, many years, but lost a little bit of contact with. And he's had a number of great businesses that he's built and sold and still involved with in some. But he has this, well, it's not that new now. It's called A Glass of Bubbly. So tomorrow is all themed around, if you're going to love this, wine, drinking, champagne and food. So the late night show is all about business in the kind of bit more chilled back, relaxed world of wine and food. So Christopher Walkie from A Glass of Bubbly is joining us. And then we've got Brennan Davis, who's joining us all the way from South Africa, from the Wine Glass Guru. And he's going to be joining us and talking a little bit more about wine over in South Africa, which I will say, when I've been there quite a few times with my businesses. I would say the wine over there is great. You go to a wine farm and the whole experience is fantastic. Wine tasting. And they always keep their best wine. They never export it. So if you go and buy South African wine in the shops, it's all right. But the best stuff they keep in South Africa.
Really?
Don't blame them. But there you go. So that's tomorrow night. So Wednesday, 8 p.m., myself and Keith Smith, all the way from the USA, co-hosting alongside me. Nick will be joining from afar, well, from Birmingham. And he will be joining the show and giving us an update about the awards. Christopher Walkie, Brennan Davis on the show tomorrow night. Thursday morning, the breakfast show. Nick will be back in the studio with myself, and we're going to be talking.
I'll still be here, but I'll be on the show.
You'll be on the show. Yeah, you're allowed to join us on Thursday morning. So it's going to be a fabulous week. Lots going on, lots to talk about, lots to debate and discuss. And we welcome you to join us on both of the shows and feed us your comments, talk about what's going on in the world, and we'll do some good shout outs as well.
Yeah, join the conversation. 8 o'clock tomorrow evening and 8 o'clock Thursday morning.
Yeah, that's it. Have a good morning, everybody. We'll see you soon. Bye-bye for now.